and gentlemen, this is the no solder 2 metre and 70 centimetre dipole. Tools you will need is a crimping tool or a good set of pliers, ring terminals, binding post adapter, measuring tape and a hunk of wire. Not necessary, but wire strippers if you have them. So I just cut myself off probably a little bit more wire than I realistically need, but I'll cut it to size. So I'm going to get out the measuring tape and I'm going to cut it to size. So yeah, I'm at the kitchen table and I've got here the measuring tape and I'm going 19 inches, I'll call it 19 and a half so I can trim down. It's better to have too little and be able to trim it for best VSWR than it is to have it not need it. So I was a little bit ambitious. So I'll cut it about. So I'll cut it. It is a bit long. So I'll cut it. I'm just trying to stop measuring tape and going in. So there we go. So I need to about there. So I'll just flip the camera over so you can see. So there we go. So as you can see there, 19 inches. So 19 inches of this wire. So I don't know how well you can see the automated lug connector, which I have there. So that will go on top of the binding post adapter. So I'm just going to get the tool out. I'm going to crimp it. So yeah, that's now crimped up. That's a solid connection that ain't going anywhere. And that's one leg of the dipole. So now I just need to rinse and repeat. So cut myself another bit of wire off the spool, crimp the connector on the end, and then I tune it and see what when I say tune it, I'll get a radio out with a good SWR meter for 2 meters and 70 cents, and I'll see where it's resonant. And how I'll do that is I'll just go to the bottom end of the band, take an SWR measurement, the top end of the band do the same thing. So this is the next element, and as you can see I had the measuring tape out, and now I just need to get my crimp connector here and shove it on the end. So as you can see, I've completed the build of the dipole using the binding post as the center, as the center joining link. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the coax and the FT817 and see what the SWR meter and the FT817 is telling me about the resonance of this. I intentionally cut it a bit long because it's much easier to trim than it is to make things short than to adding wires called soldering. So yeah, so it's much easier just to cut it a bit long and trim it down to the bit of the band we want it on. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the dipole hanging up here on the window. Apologies about any background noise. I've got other people up and all around the house, but yeah, this is the dipole hanging on the window. So let me go to the radio and fire up and see what the VSWR measurement is. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start at 144, which is there. 44. I'll just take the VFI to some oddball frequency. So I hope that I don't interfere. Hopefully that's enough out the way. I'm assuming it is. That's mainly where all the contests are run, and there are no contests going on at the moment, so I shouldn't interfere with anybody. If I drop an FM carrier in here, I hope I don't anyway. VK3 FTRM test, hello test, hello test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. VK3 FTRM testing. And as you can see, I've got an FM carrier transmitting, and the SW there is for SWR, and the SWR is flat on 140. 144.175. So it's flat at the low end of the band. VK3 FTRM test transmission complete. And if I go 146.1, I'll get the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, still got a repeater shift on, that wasn't intentional. But even around 146, it's still flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. VK3 FTR. Flat as a tack still. I go to, let's go 148. Let's go somewhere around here. So just within inside the 2 meter band. Let's just go there just to play safe. So 147 900, right up top end of the 2 metre band. Because and let's just see. And test 1 2 VK3 FTRM and SWR is still flat. As we can see, the SWR is flat all across 2 metres. So let's go to 70 centimetres and try the same thing. Here we go, let's try 70 centimetres UHF. So I'm right on the boundary at 430 megs. VK3 FTRM testing. Tiny bit of SWR. Just a smidge. It's not, I wouldn't say it's enough to worry about, but a smidge. It's probably around 1.5 region. Something like that. Let's go to the middle of the band, 440 region. Yeah, that's getting a bit higher now. 1 2. Oh no, that's 445. But yeah, as we can see, 445, it's getting a bit high. VK3 FTRM test. But if I go down to the FM portion, out of the ATV portion and down to the FM portion around, let's call it 439.000, which is the FM calling frequency, flat as attack, VK3 FTRM testing. So yeah, flat as attack. So not so great up the ATV portion of 70 centimetres, but in the FM portion of 70 centimetres, it's acceptable. And up the top end of, so yeah, you don't want to really go above 440, but the FM portion of the band, it's fine, and it's also fine on 2 metres. So we've got ourselves a winner of an antenna.